guys, welcome back to my channel. If I look the same as I did when I filmed my 11-week pregnancy update, it is because I am filming this video right after I finished filming that one. But I have some time to myself, so I wanted to just get out a couple videos that I've been wanting to film. And obviously by the title of this video, this is going to be baby names I love and may be using. I wanted to get this video out now because we may be finding out tomorrow the gender of our baby. We still don't know if it's a boy or a girl, and I have had this running list since I found out I was pregnant with my son Miles of names that I absolutely love, and since there's a pretty good chance that this baby is going to be our last, I am not going to need to look at this list anymore after we know if it's a boy or a girl and we pick one of these names. So I just wanted to make a video now and go over all the names that I love for a boy and a girl while they're still fresh in my mind. Alright, so we're just gonna start with boys' names because that is first on my list, and I don't have like a specific or matching number of boys' names or girls' names. I'm just gonna read them off exactly how I have them listed on my list. I think I have more girls' names that I love than boys' names. That's what it's looking like. And there's a few that I've kind of changed my mind on, so I put stars next to the ones that I still love and am considering for this baby. So let's go ahead and get right into it. The first boy's name on my list is Hunter. I don't remember where I first heard this name, but I don't personally know anyone with the name Hunter, and I thought it would just be such a cute name for a little boy and would transition well into adulthood. That's always something that I think about when I'm coming up with names, because I not only want them to be really cute for when they're babies, I also want them to make sense and transition well into adulthood, and I think Hunter is just the coolest name. I don't know what it is about it. I just love it. I've always been surprised at how much I love the name Hunter because I've always been a fan of just like short and sweet names, and Hunter is, I don't know, it's not super long, but it's a little longer than names I usually go for. Hunter has always been really high up on my list, definitely in my top 3 boys' names, and it definitely was up there for Miles as well. But I think I've mentioned this, my husband and I both loved the name Miles, so there wasn't really much discussion when we decided to name him. It was super easy, and with this baby, we are having the hardest time. We haven't even talked that much about names yet. We just know that like fundamentally, we have such different tastes in names that we just decided to wait until we know the gender, and then we can kind of duke it out and try to come up with a baby name. But I know my husband is not a fan of Hunter, and I believe he knows some Hunters, so I mean, I get that. Sometimes if you know people or have people who are too close to you with a certain name, that obviously knocks some names off. But yeah, Hunter has always been one that I have loved. The next name that I absolutely love for a boy is Cam, and obviously that's kind of more like a nickname, so I would either have his full name be Cameron or Camden. I like Cameron more, I think, and my husband, at one point I got him on the same page with me as Cameron. He doesn't hate it, but he wasn't like completely sold with it. I think the nickname Cam is so cute. It's cute for a boy, it's cute for like an older guy. I just think Cam is such a cool name. It's short and it's sweet, and I just love it. I also think it's cool that the name Cameron is unisex, and I originally was thinking maybe we should just pick the name Cameron and have the baby's name be Cameron no matter if it's a boy or a girl. I still think that's a pretty cool idea since my husband and I both did like the name Cameron. I don't know if he still is on the same page with me, but I do think it's a cool idea to have a unisex name that you really love, and then when you find out the gender, you already have the name regardless. The next name on my list is Cal. You can spell this C-A-L. I've also seen it K-A-L as well, and I originally heard this name from one of my YouTube besties named Morgan. Her son is named Cal, and I just thought it was such a cute name. I'm such a fan of nicknames that I love a name that is already kind of like a nickname itself, and I just think Cal is such a cool name, and I think Miles and Cal sound cool together. Like they're just kind of both in that same vein, I guess, of names. So Cal is one that ever since I heard it from my friend Morgan, I was like, I need to add that one to my list. The next name that has been on my list for a really long time is Jack. My husband and I both agree and love the name Jack, and we would 100% go ahead and use that name, but my nephew's name is Jackson, and I just feel like that's a little bit too close. I don't want to take away anything from my nephew Jackson and make him feel like, I'm not sure if he would like it or if he would not like it, but I just don't want to muddy those waters. I want, you know, everyone to have their own individual name. So I think maybe I'll name a future dog or something Jack, just because I love the name so much. This actually works out well because we were just talking about dog names. The next name on my list that I love for a little boy is Brody. And I love that name so much for such a long time that when I got my puppy, I named him Brody. So I love the name, obviously. I think it's a great name. I love it for a human, and I guess I loved it for a dog too. So I will not be naming my son Brody, but it has always been on my list because I just love that name. And I heard that name from Brody Jenner, obviously The Hills, and I've loved it ever since. I thought it was a great name, so I used that name for my dog. Another boy name that I absolutely love that is so popular right now is Crew. And I also heard this name from one of my YouTube mom friends. Her name is Clarissa, and she actually named her son this right before the announcement came out with Joanna Gaines' baby boy's name, which is Crew. So it was really funny because when I heard it from Clarissa, I was like, that is such a cute name. And then Joanna Gaines announced that they were naming their son Crew, and I still loved it, and I was like, okay, so this name is gonna be so popular, but I don't even care. I just love it. So that quickly rose to probably like my top 3 boys' names. It fits all of my qualifications. It's short, it's a perfect little boy's name, and it's such a cool adult's name. I just think Crew would be the coolest like man name. I just love it. All right, now we are on to my girls' names. I have a little bit longer of a list of girls' names. So the first one on my list is Charlotte. It's a little bit longer than names I usually go for, and it's not 100% like I love it. I like it a lot, but there isn't a great nickname that goes with Charlotte that I've found that I absolutely love. Like, I don't love Char. Like, that's just, I don't know. I'm not in love with that nickname. So I think Charlotte, the name, is super classic and beautiful. But I think I would have a little bit of a problem just with the length and lack of nickname with that one, but I always love that name, and like I said, I think it's so classic and so beautiful. The next name on my list is Hayden. I think it's such a unique name. Obviously Hayden Panettiere, so I mean, not super unique, but I've never personally met anyone with the name Hayden. I think it's really cute. I love the name Hayden because it's not too girly, and I don't know, there's just something about it that I've always loved. I love that I've never met another Hayden and that it's not super popular, at least to my knowledge. So yeah, that's one that I've always really liked. Miles and Hayden sound cute together. I don't know what nickname I would use for Hayden, so that might be a problem though. The next name on my list that I absolutely adore for a girl is Nora. It's short and it's sweet, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. There's just something like so poetic to me about the name Nora. I love Norah Jones music, and so I think because of that, I think of the name Nora and I picture a girl who's really artsy and talented in like either not necessarily music, but just kind of more like artsy and creative, and I just think that's so adorable. So Nora is definitely one that's high on my list, and I don't think you need a nickname for it because it's already short within itself, and clearly that's the kind of name I go for. The next name on my list is Haley. I have loved this name ever since I was a little girl. I just think the name Haley is so sweet. It just reminds me of like a sweet little girl with like a braid in her hair. I picture Haley being almost like a blonde, which that would not happen in my family. There are like no blondes. I think it's a really sweet and kind of timeless name. It's not gonna like be one of those super trendy names where she goes in and everyone's gonna have that name for like a couple years and then we won't ever hear it again. I think Haley's just really classic and timeless and so pretty. The next name for a little girl on my list is Everly. I absolutely think this name is so pretty. It reminds me almost of like a fairy tale princess name. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And for my last pregnancy, which I ended up having a miscarriage, I was so convinced by the symptoms I was having, and just there was just something about my pregnancy that I was so convinced I was having a little girl, and my husband and I had already decided that her name would be Everly. I've never really talked about that before. I don't think a lot of people know that, but our rainbow baby's name was going to be Everly, or I guess is Everly. I just had such a strong feeling that I was pregnant with a girl, and I just love the name Everly so much, like I said, so I will not be using that for this baby, but I love that name so much and I think it's absolutely beautiful. I've been seeing and hearing that name a lot more, which is a beautiful name, so I'm not surprised at all, and I like it. It warms my heart because it just reminds me of our little angel baby. The next name has been one that probably if I was 12, I would have bet everything that if I had a little girl, her name would be Madison, and I absolutely love the nickname Maddie. That has just always been a name that I love. I still really like that name, but I think there are a couple other girl names that are higher up on my list now just as the years have gone by. But as a whole, I still think Madison is such a pretty name, and Maddie is such a cute nickname for a little girl, and then I think Madison transitions so beautifully into adulthood. One of my absolute top 3 favorite girls' names is Sailor. I heard it from Kristen Cavallari, that's what she named her daughter, and I think she had said in an interview, or maybe one of her books that I read, that she just kind of made up the name. So I just absolutely love it. I think it's beautiful, it's unique, and Miles and Sailor go so good together. I think Sailor just rolls off the tongue so eloquently and beautiful. It's a little bit of an unexpected name, but it's a name that works, I think, so well for a girl and transitions well into adulthood as well. So I think Sailor is just a beautiful name, and I would totally pick that name. I just don't think my husband agrees with me on how perfect that name is, but it's okay. And the last name on my list is Amelia, and this is one that my husband actually brought up to me, and I was very surprised at how much I loved it, and I almost kind of was like, why wasn't that name on my list? I think it's so cute. There's not like a perfect nickname that I've come up with yet, but Amelia's not that long. My husband's grandmother was Cuban and her name was Amalia, so Amelia is almost like the American English version of that. So I went ahead and added Amelia to my list as well. Alright guys, so that is my list of baby names. I am really glad that I made this video because I'm gonna be finding out what we're having so soon. So I guess I will be able to preserve these names that I have had written down in the notes section of my phone for years. Hopefully these names gave someone else some inspiration. If you guys have any names that you love, preferably ones that are short and sweet, make sure you leave them down in the comments below, because we have not had a serious name conversation yet with this baby, so we are open. Even though this is the list of names that I love right now, I am completely open to suggestions, and if you guys have any, I would love to hear them. Also, make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel because I'm gonna have my gender reveal video up very soon. Make sure your notification bell is on if you want to be notified when that is posted. I will also leave my Instagram handle here so you can follow me on Instagram, where I give more day-to-day updates. So I'll be announcing first on Instagram when our results are in, but then I will be posting the actual gender reveal on my YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys!
Stay true to that fire in your heart and your soul. Don't drench your desire in what you can't control. We fly, try so hard to get there, and we